The winter sun glinted through the windows of an elementary school in the sleepy town of Havenwood. Outside, snow softened the edges of a world too often defined by harshness. Inside, Mr. Langston, a volunteer guest speaker and one of the town's most enigmatic residents, knelt beside a group of second graders, reading them a story about a dragon who learned to be kind. At 42, Theodore Langston was a self-made millionaire, known for his tech empire and his striking charisma. But here, in this classroom, he was just Mr. Theo, the man who brought snacks and told stories. A few giggles erupted from the back as the dragon in the story accidentally set his own tail on fire. Theo grinned. His eyes, normally sharp and calculating in boardrooms, softened as he looked around the group. There was a certain peace in these moments that no business deal could offer. As the bell rang and the children filed out for recess, one girl lingered. She was small for her age, with wide hazel eyes and a nervous energy that tugged at Theo's attention. "Hey there, what's your name?" he asked, kneeling again to her level. She looked around before leaning in close, her voice barely above a whisper. "There's a camera in your office." Theo blinked. "What did you say?" She looked frightened now, biting her lower lip. "In your office, behind the painting. I saw it when I was at the party with my aunt. I didn't tell anyone, but I thought you should know." Before he could ask more, the teacher called for her, and she ran off without another word. Theo stood frozen. There had been a holiday party at his home office just weeks ago. Many guests, including staff, friends, and his fiancée, Marissa. The room in question was private, one of the few places he kept entirely to himself. How could a child know about a hidden camera? Back at home that evening, curiosity gave way to concern. Theo dismissed his staff early and locked himself in the office. He stood before the large oil painting of his late father and slowly lifted it from the wall. There it was, a small, expertly concealed lens embedded into the wall. Not visible unless you knew exactly where to look. He stared at it for a long time. Who put it there? Who had access? Only a handful of people. And then, like a gust of wind snuffing out a candle, a name cut through his thoughts. Marissa. Marissa Whitmore. Smart, poised, compassionate. Or so he thought. She'd entered his life 18 months ago at a gala in San Francisco. Their chemistry had been instant, her empathy disarming. She seemed to understand his loneliness, his guarded heart. But she also had an uncanny knack for knowing things she shouldn't, subtle things. Theo spent the next few days in silence, pretending nothing had changed. He took Marissa to dinner, listened as she talked about wedding venues, smiled at her, anecdotes. And at night he combed through security footage, communication logs, background checks. What he found chilled him. Marissa had aliases, small inconsistencies, and most damning, several private conversations recorded from his office were leaked in tech circles weeks after they'd occurred. They hadn't led to disaster, just suspicion. But now, everything added up. He sat in his office again, eyes dark. With disbelief, the woman he'd planned to marry had been spying on him. For whom? Corporate rivals, governments. But there was no direct evidence. Not yet. And Theo Langston didn't move without certainty. Instead of confrontation, he chose exposure. He staged a call in his office, spoke aloud about a fabricated investment that would shake up the tech market, mentioned a confidential meeting in Geneva with high-profile clients. Then he waited. Days later, the leak hit, exactly as planned. He brought the evidence to a friend. In the FBI, someone he trusted. They moved quickly and quietly. Within weeks, they traced the data breaches to a shell company linked to an international espionage ring. Marissa was a key player, using charm to gain access to influential figures. Theo confronted her at their engagement party. Underneath the fairy lights and the music, he whispered in her ear, "Smile. The FBI is watching." Her eyes went wide. She tried to laugh it off, but within minutes agents closed in. The takedown was swift. Headlines erupted. Millionaire exposes spy fiancée. The town of Havenwood buzzed for weeks, but Theo withdrew from the spotlight. He returned to the school quietly, as Mr. Theo. The girl who warned him, Emma, became a regular lunch buddy. He funded scholarships in her name. He never asked how she knew. Maybe her aunt had said something. Maybe she saw something others missed. Maybe children just notice more. Years passed. Theo rebuilt not just his company, but himself. He traveled, mentored, helped others rebuild too. He invested in people who wanted to change the world through kindness. He still remembered Marissa, not with hatred, but with sorrow. She had every chance to live a different life. And as for Emma, she grew up knowing that a single act of courage could change a life, or save one. In the end, it wasn't the millions or the machines that mattered. It was a whisper, a child's voice in a world of noise, and someone who chose to listen. The story has been crafted and is now available for review. If you'd like to expand it further toward the 7,000-word goal, Ractor backstories, or add more twists and emotional depth, just let me know how you'd like tea.